Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and welcome back. And what we're getting back into, Love Island series 11. We are now on episode 23, when all the shit kind of hits the fan and we have a couple dumping, we have a double dumping, and we know in the next episode Casa Amor is back, people. And I wonder who's going to be returning when it comes to Casa Amor, because you know Love Island likes to regurgitate people up in this place. We don't know if it be fully all people new or whether they're going to bring back some old favourites. Anyway, before we get into this video, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do all the good things that you do, because I am on the road to 1k. Anyway, let's get into it. So, we know that Howie and Jessie are literally stuck on the terrace after they be kissy. Let's see how the hell they get out of their tight spot, shall we? All I'm saying is Joey's a hoe, that's why I'm calling him Howie. That is his new name. So Nicole walks over to the girls all contrite and pulls Harriet and Matilda for a chat. I think it's hella stupid. I don't think Nicole has anything to explain, because at the end of the day, yes, Nicole might be in a partnership with Kieran, but at the end of the day, she don't hold Kieran's tongue. She don't hold his behaviours. She don't hold how he thinks and feels. That's Kieran on his own and his individual entity, right? So Howie and Jessie are messed up to hell and back. I'm like, Jessie needs to bear in mind, I understand she's a bombshell up in this place, but then she also understands there's a situation between Howie and Grace at the end of the day, and that Grace is not liking the situation as it is. Grace is not liking that she fucking chose Howie, okay? So Jessie needed to bear that in mind, but she hella didn't, because at the end of the day, she needs to also bear in mind that even though Joey says that they're open, Grace is not saying that at all. And after that, he still kissed Grace after their little chat. Bearing in mind, Howie was saying what he was saying to her. Yeah, should have clued her in as to what Howie is all about. And best believe, yeah, Howie will do the same thing to Jessie. He will. He's not to be trusted. He's not to be trusted. And it's just a shame that he is exempt from tonight's voting, because I was pissed at that. I ain't gonna lie. He was exempt from the voting, yeah. Pissed. Hella pissed. So Jessie is basically saying, oh, she didn't expect that kiss and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, really? Everybody knows what they're going up on the terrace for. Everybody knows what they're going up on the terrace for. And if you really didn't want to do that, then you would have said no, because there's been bare people up there that have gone to the terraces and now they don't want to kiss. Uma and Matilda, to be exact, has said they ain't kissing the people that took them up onto the terrace, because they ain't about that life at that point in time. They want to see the metal of that person first. But no, Jessie was like, right as rain, give that man a kiss, knowing full well that during that same day he'd kissed up Grace. That's all I'm going to say. So you see Nicole talking with Jess, Harriet, Matilda, and wanted to talk about what happened and unfolded with the Never Have I Ever game. Basically, Jess did call out Matilda and say that at the end of the day, it was Matilda that egged on the situation. Jess didn't say shit. Jess was basically saying that you can dish it out, but you can't take it. And she doesn't exactly want to be arguing about anything at the end of the day. She's just had enough, and she ain't doing this situation with Harriet no more, because Harriet is trying to blame her for the situation that occurred. So basically, Jess is saying, I don't understand how you are blaming me. And Jess basically said that she can't win with Harriet and she doesn't want to do this back and forth with her no more. So that's when Harriet gets up and storms off, because the conversation again is not going Harriet's way. So Jess called out Matilda again for saying what she said regarding the egging on. Harriet ignored that, because Harriet realised she was mad at the wrong person. Because actuality, Harriet was only mad at Jess because of the fact that Jess is right where she said, you know what, I had Ronnie first. Me and Ronnie that made that connection. It's her that then enforced herself into that situation, ending it up being a triangle of sorts. Jess basically set her firm and clear boundaries in picking Sean. Yes, she was playing a game in that sense. And then that's when it kind of veered to Harriet. So Harriet really has no bone in this fight at the end of the day. Harriet doesn't want to sit and listen to people who are not essentially on her side. So Harriet gets up, walks off. Jess basically says to Matilda, and this is case in point. Every time the conversation is not going this girl's way, she don't want to hear it, and she gets up and she walks off. And Jess says, basically, I've had enough of it. I don't want to have anything to do with the girl, basically. So Uma and Grace are talking to Mimi about Harry being on the terrace. Harriet then bowls over to the girls, and this is where Harriet does my head in, because she tries to create a narrative that is not true. She blames everyone for things that don't go her way. Harriet wants everyone to take her side on everything, and again creates a narrative against another person when it doesn't happen, because basically she's now saying that she was not sitting in that conversation because Jess started screaming and shouting at her. I was like, when did Jess start screaming and shouting? Jess didn't even raise her voice. Jess was talking in a normal cadence. Harriet just didn't like what the fuck Jess was saying at the end of the day, because Jess was done with her. So basically, as again, Jess doesn't understand why everything was her fault. And I was just like, do you know what, Harriet, just go about your day. Continue being oblivious to everything that it is that you caused. Just go about your day. So out came Howie and Jessie from the terrace, basically. And Grace is basically saying that if he has kissed her, she will never speak to Joey again. I'm like, he took the girl to the terrace. She shouldn't be speaking to him now anyway, like for real. So you see Howie and Jessie making up stories about how they're going to play this, what they're going to say. They can't, they're going to have to deny that they kissed each other, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, my God, you're in the villa with cameras. What game are you playing? We all know what the fuck you did. We all see it. Do you think that this is not going to come out in some kind of freaking award show somewhere where everyone are going to see the bullshit that you're carrying on with right now? And it's at this point where I'm saying that Jessie, nah, man, you're being hella disrespectful with this dude. I don't understand why she's following this man's say so. She's following this man's action and instruction. I don't understand why she's doing that. So they come out and then they split up, and then Howie has the audacity to call Jessie again like a dog to heel, but Jessie point blank went to her and sits down with the rest of the lads. And I'm like, my girl, come on, fix up, look sharp. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? So Grace gets mad at Jessie, saying that this girl is annoying the hell out of her. And I'm like, my girl, what it is you need to do is go check your hoe of a man, to be fair. Yes, Jessie is being a little bit disrespectful, but she's coming and she's doing what a bombshell is supposed to do. Last time I checked, Howie was the one blowing bull wax up Grace's pipe hole at the end of the day, to the point that she kissed him on the lips. So, So, this is where I say Jessie's going to have to start following Howie's instructions. Don't be timid, and needs to have a mouth to stop the BS that's going on. Going to be around her, in front of her, to her, and at her back, basically. She can't be timid up in there with this bullshit right now, because she made her choice. She's made her bed. She's got to lay in it at the end of the day. So Joey ends up telling Ronnie that him and Jessie kissed up on the terrace. He's telling them don't say nothing. He told Will as well, because Will was with them. He's telling them don't say nothing. And I'm like, do you not listen to nothing about pillow talk? So Jessie then tells Trey what they've done and tells him not to say anything. I'm like, do you not realise where you are? You're in the Ross Villa, there's cameras everywhere. Do you think this shit won't come out anyway? Come on now. So Jessie is basically scared to go downstairs, and she voices this when she's standing upstairs with the guys, and nobody says a word to her. Because I'm like, you're going to have to pull your big girl drawers up. You made the choice that you made. It's time you go downstairs and face the Ross music at the end of the day, my girl. I think Grace at this point needs to use all her self-respect that she has in reserve, and it's time to do away with Joey the Howie. This man ain't no man at all, and ain't for Grace at all at the end of the day. Again, Harriet is moaning about Jess, and I'm like, my girl, just give it up already. So basically, Howie, you see, doing damage control with Trey and telling him like asking him, did Jesse tell you about us two kissing up on the terrace? And Trey said yeah. So Joey is basically telling Trey not to say nothing about them kissing. And I'm like, my guy, you can do all the damage control you can in this villa, but I'm telling you, it will come out, and you need to talk to Grace about it before it does. That's all I'm gonna say. So Grace, you see now talking to Connor about how she's glad that all of this has now happened in the villa. Connor be secretly thinking, I told you so. Did he not tell her that he doesn't believe that this is going to work for them on the outside? What say after all the situations that they had going on the outside that it didn't work there, that it's going to work here? Isn't it not the same kind of thing? So basically, Kieran, you see, as the lights go off, is whispering to Nicole how he's terrified of her so much, and she doesn't understand why. So Kieran lets out the love bomb. Basically lets out the love bomb to Nicole, and Nicole returns the favour. I just like, she's got this man whipped. Like, that's it. Now you said I love yous to each other. There's no coming back from that one. No coming back from that one. Especially when we know Catherine was coming. Kieran need to keep his wits about him. Let's put it that way. So, there are a lot of people kissing up in that room. And I'm like, you see Howie and Jesse kissing up, and I'm like, what? Really? And then you see Grace's head jump up like a gazelle, because Grace ain't stupid. And this is why I say at this point, yeah, Jesse is literally out of order, because I'm like, I don't know why you're going along with Howie's BS at the end of the day. So then we get to daytime, and basically Trey, I think, I can't remember who he's talking to, and I think he's talking to Jess basically, and they're talking about the situation between Howie and Jesse, because it seems it's the buzz of the villa now in regards to what essentially happened up on this freaking terrace between them two, and everybody's trying to find out whether they kissed or not. So everybody, including Trey and Will, are keeping that secret. They ain't saying shit to nobody, like absolutely nobody. It comes to point when Howie comes in with a coffee and gives it to Jesse, and I'm like, for us, you never made one for Grace. Not at all. After you tell this girl that she's it for you, that she's the one you want to. So then, as an afterthought, Howie goes back out to make a green tea and honey that Grace likes and takes it to her. Grace was like, fuck no, I'm accepting that. And literally put it on the floor outside next to where Jesse was standing. Basically, Jesse overhears Grace telling the rest of them that, you know what? He said about Jesse that she is a friend and that Grace is the priority of Joey. I was like, so basically Grace is saying that in terms of the order of the drinks, he should have brought hers first. So it's because Joey had brought Grace's second, she was not going to accept it, which is dunce in my favour, because at the end of the day, even if you bring me my drink first and you bring the other girl a drink afterwards, after all the shit where you've gone up on the terrace, I don't know what the fuck's happened up there on that terrace with this girl, and all the shit that you brought in since you had a date with this girl, I ain't accepting nothing from this man until I know the truth. Not a Ross bean, not even if he brought it first, second or last to me. Anyway, so then Howie comes back and picks it up, sees it sitting there, picks it up and goes back to Grace to give it to her, and Grace point blank says, I don't want it. I don't want it. Do what you need to do with it, but I do not want it. So Grace is still talking about the fact that if Howie's kissed Jess, she don't want nothing to do with him. Oh, it's just like, let's see how this information plays out with Jessie, because she heard all the discussions of what everything's going to happen. So Joey is basically moaning to the lads about how Grace didn't want to take her tea, and I'm like, does he not really see this from Grace's point of view? Like, seriously. So Jess tells Jessie advice in terms of you have to do what you have to do at the end of the day. So Jessie then tells Jess that they did kiss up on terrace, and Jess basically tells her that, you know what, you need, or Joey needs to tell Grace before that shit comes out, because it will be a shit storm if it comes out and Grace hasn't heard it first from either one of you at the end of the day. So Ronnie is drinking the green tea and he's liking it. So Howie's heat-seeking missile gaze again goes straight to Jessie, and this is how it was with Grace. So Jess basically wants to know the story, and they both said he needs to speak to Grace about it and tell her that, you know, in fact she did kiss up on the terrace. I'm like, yeah, Howie, it's time you pulled up your fucking drop strap, tighten that shit, and go do what big boys do at the end of the day. So what happens is Joey then disappears. Jess is like, okay then, you're taking too long to go and tell Grace this shit. So Jessie decides to pull Grace for a chat. Because at this time, the whole fucking villa know at this point, because everybody amongst themselves have told each other what the fuck is going on. So you see Jess and Nicole just watching the situation that's happening. You see Matilda and everybody else just watching the situation play out, because you first see, as again, Jess pulling Grace for a chat. So basically, Jess tells Grace what happened. And Jessie was basically saying that she didn't see Joey come and tell her, so she decided to come and tell Grace herself because she didn't want to hear it from anybody else. So Grace is basically telling Jess that basically what it is you've come in and gave him attention, and Joey doesn't know how to act. So basically, as you see Joey coming out as Grace is literally talking to Jessie, and you see Joey pull up, and Grace basically turns to Joey and tells him about himself and says, I'll speak to you after, don't come over here. And I was like, well damn. So Uma got mystified about the whole situation because she didn't even know what Howie did, so they told her. And I'm just like, Howie can keep saying it's friendship, but it ain't, Howie. It isn't. It's not a friendship. We all know this is not a friendship between you and Grace. It wasn't from Grace's point of view, and with the shit that you were telling her and the behaviours you were showing her, it was not a friendship. So Grace basically said to Jessie that she's been disrespectful for kissing Howie at the end of the day. And I'm like, but Grace, you did the same with Sam. You were kissing that dude when Sam was not so far away from you, but she couldn't see, but the whole village could see. That's how disrespectful you was. So again, pot calling kettle black at the end of the day. So as again, I would say Jessie doesn't really owe Grace no loyalties. At the end of the day, Jessie is the one that's single, not attached to nobody. She set her sights on Joey. It's Joey to owe those loyalties to Grace, as Grace had said that she'd been doing for Joey at the end of the day, and he did not. So all I can say is Karma has done her job very well. Very, very well. So you see Grace and Joey then have a chat. And Grace basically tells him exactly that she knows that he's kissed Jessie, and basically Grace stood on her business, have to give her that, and told him it was done. So Howie says they're saying that he's done nothing wrong, and I'm like, what? I can't with Joey at all. Like, seriously, how can you say that you have done nothing wrong? Like, are we all watching the same Ross thing where this man has done everything fucking wrong? Like, everything. So Grace tells him directly that it's done between them. I don't know what Joey expected at the end of the day. Did he really think that Grace is going to sit on the fucking sidelines and wait for him to come to her like he is this big I am? No, not in the raw slices. So the only person he's got to be with now is Jessie. So when Jessie decides to mug him off, he's only got himself to blame at the end of the day. So you see Mimi and Ayo having a conversation. And basically, Mimi is seeking is if Ayo is still in the exploration stages, especially when it comes for someone else coming into Villa. Ayo says that he hasn't actually thought about it, as he hasn't felt that that's what he wants to do as of right now. Me, myself, when it comes to that question, he still didn't give Mimi a good enough answer. Yes, we understand he is happy right now. Mimi just wants to know where she will stand, because she needs to be able to prepare herself, especially if somebody else comes to the villa, and especially when it comes to Casa Amor, because you need to be able to trust in your feelings for this person. And if you don't have that trust there, and you know that this person may be a little bit flaky, then you have to act accordingly at the end of the day. Ayo is basically saying, as long as I can see and talk to you, he will always make Mimi know what he's feeling. Ayo is full of shit, to be honest, because he didn't do or stand on ceremony when it came to Uma, when she came in, and him letting Mimi know where in fact he stood. He actually iced her out. So Mimi really thought in her VC that what Ayo said was reassurance, and I was like, for me it was more confusing. It was more confusing. There was no guarantee there from Ayo that he was in his feels when it came to Mimi, or what he expected from their coupling at all. So Kieran and Nicole are having this chat, and basically, you know, Nicole says it to Jess that, you know, Kieran said, I love you, and she said it back, and Jess was so happy for her, because at the end of the day, Nicole and Jess are like that. All I hope is that Nicole stays happy with this, because I can't deal with the insecure Nicole, and I think the insecure Nicole is going to come out when Casa Amor happens, because she's going to have to be separated from Kieran and essentially trust him within his actions within that whole scenario. So we'll say, so you see how we give Jessie a kiss basically, when everybody's outside and they're in some type of nook, and I was just like, I swear I just can't with this man. I really can't. And this is why I say Howie is not as stupid as he puts out there. He really is not. He knows what the hell he's doing. So then it comes the night time, and I just thought it's better if Grace stays out of it, to be honest with you, and let Joey do what he needs to do with Jessie, and Jessie will learn too. Jessie will learn, because Casa Amor is coming, and she does not have no settled connection with this man. And we already know Joey's ass can flirt like a good one, yeah? So Mimi and Nicole, you see them checking out their chest for lumps and bumps, which is a good thing. So Nicole tells the girls about Kieran saying I love you and her saying it back, and the majority of the girls are happy for her, except for Harriet. Harriet had the resting bitch face on point, but you know, yeah, because her and Kieran aren't friends, and she's not necessarily friends with Nicole, but who cares? You see, as Ayo was talking to Kieran about how happy he was, a text comes in, and I had to get around the fire pit now. So what came was a double dumping of a couple, and I would say that I either had Harriet and Ronnie are going, or Connor and Grace was going, basically. Joey and Jess were exempt due to the bombshells picking them. So basically what it was is the public had been voting for their favourite couples, and the least favourite couples were at risk from dumping. So at risk was Uma and Will, Grace and Connor, Harriet and Ronnie. So it was kind of like the fewest, whoever had out of those couples had the fewest votes will go and leave. And Harriet and Ronnie was gone. I was actually happy. I actually went whoop whoop. I ain't gonna lie, because I've had enough of Harriet. I really had enough of Harriet and Ronnie, to be exact. Had enough of them. So now I just like, yeah, now the villa will be a little bit more fucking calmer without that person in there running roughshod over it and always being a part of the Ross drama. So all of them were saying that they were shocked to hell and back. I don't know how they could be all shocked, because we see what we see at the end of the day, and Ronnie and Harriet were a mess, to be fair. So Harriet takes Matilda and Grace with her to pack. She doesn't want to be dealing with anybody else. I said, I basically thought Jess should not be anywhere a part of that because of how she feels about Jess. Basically, Harriet is confused as to why the public picked the way that they did, and she does blame Ronnie. And I thought, no. In part Ronnie, but majority you, my girl. Majority you, because I'm sorry, Harriet. As lovely as you may be to all those around you, you was annoying as hell. Annoying as hell. And it's the fact that in that game, you use your tears to weaponize them against Kieran. That's how I can see that went. And that's why the public was like, yeah, nah, can't have you in there no more, because I was sick to death of listening to you being the woe-betide one and listening to you having a moan about fucking Jess and Ronnie all the last time. It was beyond a joke. And Harriet was the one that caused all the Ross drama in there too. So you see Jess basically asking her, oh, have you collected everything? Harriet fully ignores Jess, and I'm like, do you know what? Okay, you two will never be best friends on the outside world, but do you know what? give a little bit of respect. At the end of the day, give a little bit of respect. And this is why I said Jess should have kept out of it, because Harriet is a petty girl. So Ronnie basically, as they come out, says that he does not think that they will go their separate ways at all, that will still be together on the outside. Well, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. So this is where that episode ended. And Sunday night, as it is tonight, is Casa Amor. And we're going to see some cracks and fissures up in here. It ain't going to be good now that Casa Amor is about to happen. But as I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do all the good things that you do, because I am on the road to 1K, and I'll be back with the next episode pretty soon. Peace out.